Alright, we're back here on the chainsaw bike build again, and just want to show you what I have so far. It is up and running. There's a couple of modifications I need to do. This bar right here, you can get away with just using a whole regular bar. I just had two bits of steel that I had to weld together because I didn't have a long enough bar. It comes down and it's welded to this plate right here. This plate goes to the two bolts that originally held the bar of the chainsaw on. I figure if they can hold the bar, they can hold the rest of the motor, and it seems to be working pretty well. With our peg here, I actually slipped a piece of old radiator hose over it, which gives it a lot more traction on the wheel. That way you can get a little bit more up and go. You can ride it when it's a little bit wet outside and it doesn't slip really bad. I put a very small aluminum bolt here to keep it light, just to hold this so it doesn't work its way back towards the back of the motor here. But as you can see, I just took a metal plate right here, welded it to this. This was just a piece on the plate, so I welded that to the end, and this, I'll probably add something to this later. I could probably extend it out, put a brake light on it or something. As for the rest of the hookups, all we really needed to do was run a throttle hookup up front, and throttle, instead of being that solid bar that you saw in the last video, it comes up and down. Actually, I had to make a hole over here, and this comes straight down at the carburetor. So if we look into the carburetor here at the piece, you can see that the throttle cable is hooked to the bottom of the carburetor. And when we pull on the throttle, it comes all the way up, opens up the butterfly on the carburetor. And we ran that with some old bicycle brake line up to the front, and we have an old brake handle, and you just push on that and the throttle goes open. It looks a little loose, and that's because it is. Because if it wasn't loose, it would pull too hard on the carburetor and your max throttle will be right like here. So I left it loose, so maximum throttle goes right up against the handlebar here. That way we don't run the risk of breaking the carburetor, breaking the cam off the side of the carburetor that holds it. And top of that, we had to work on some tensioning to get a little pressure down on the motor. Right now I just have a cheap bungee cord going down to the frame of the bike, as you can see right here. And that's just putting a little force down on the motor to hold it onto the bike tire. As in the building process, I noticed that this wanted to lean outward. So it was trying to lean out this way. So what I did is, I'll come over to the other side of the bike here. I put a small hose clamp on the bike seat, and we just pulled a pin straight, put a pin, bolted it through straight up here, and we hose clamped that on, and we can tighten and loosen the hose clamp to get the right angle on the motor, if it's leaning in or if it's leaning out. And the way that we have it hooked to the frame is just this bolt right here. There's a bolt inside here. I drilled a hole, welded a collar in, and that collar will keep it from crushing this any more than it already is. You can already see it's a little dented there. And that's the one bolt that holds it on, aside of the hose clamp, to keep it straight. And when you're not riding, as you can see here, let me come around to the other side of the bike. You can see right here that it's in the down position right now, and the seat adjustment post has that thing sticking out. So I can actually lift this up off the motor. Let me do that really quick. Of course, it doesn't want to do it because I'm trying to demonstrate. I lift it up off the motor here, and it'll slide up, and this whole bar will sit right on top of the end of the seat post adjuster. And that'll keep it up off the bike tire if you just want to ride it like a regular bicycle. And have a bike pump handy because one of the tubes on this bike needs to be changed. But it's pretty much that simple, guys. I mean, you build the bar to hold the chainsaw motor, you put a peg on the end of it, and then all you have to do is worry about getting a throttle up there. We do have a start and stop up here. Well, back here on the chainsaw, and a primer button. And we also have a choke on it, but honestly, the start and stop button isn't really needed because I have really strong big brakes on this. So when I hit the brakes really hard, it has enough power, even with the motor at full throttle, just to lock the whole back tire up. So stopping is not a major hazard on this. From experience, I've noticed that we have to pedal probably up to about 10 miles an hour before the motor catches, which is kind of expected. If I want to get the speed, get it to start up at a lower speed, I would have to make this smaller. That way it kind of makes a gear ratio in between the wheel and the tube. And a smaller gearing up there means the motor would have to spin faster to get up to speed, but it'll also have more torque. And I might be looking into doing this in a later video and replacing this whole peg assembly because this is just what I had in the garage. And, it works good. It's got some good speed to it. It's almost terrifyingly fast. But I think I can do better and just get a piece of bar stock come out here, and we could probably lose the rubber if we just put some ridges in the bar stock. But that's what I have so far, guys. And if you have any questions or comments, please post below. I'd like to get my subscriber count up, so if you want to recommend a couple of friends to my site, that would be great. Just tell them to come to Thrift Store Hacker on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, watch some ads for me. That way, the YouTube will give me some money so I can continue these projects. You guys have a good afternoon.